What's up guys, IPlayVidya here, and another year has come and gone, and with that means another video detailing my favorite games that I played this year. But this video is more than just listing them off. Instead, I'm going to be ranking them. Yes, I know, this trend has long since died, but I don't care. It was a big trend that came out this year, so it's one I'm rolling with. I figure why not? Why not, list off my favorite games this year with a trend that was big this year. You probably recognize this setup, the whole tier maker setup, the SAB and whatnot. You've probably seen hundreds of videos by now. They're fucking all over the place several months ago. But regardless, I'm here to make my own tier list of my favorite games that came out this year. I have them listed there at the bottom in alphabetical order, from Control, Fire Emblem Three Houses, Judgment, Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, Man of Medan, Mortal Kombat 11, My Friend Pedro, Pokemon Sword, and The World Next Door. I have them listed in alphabetical order simply so you can't predict where I'm going to put them, so it's not obvious what order they're going to be in before I even do it. Duh. Yeah, so we have S, A, B, and C tier. S tier being 10 out of 10, fucking amazing, total masterpiece. May have some flaws here and there, but its flaws are easily overlooked by how enjoyable it is. A tier being pretty darn good game. Had a few things that bugged me a little bit, but for the most part, an enjoyable experience. B tier being, could have been better, but overall wasn't bad. And C tier being, not worth it. Being, C tier is just kind of like, bad times, really. Not necessarily a bad game, but just did not have a good time with it. It has potential to be a good game, but it just fell flat. So, anyway, with that out of the way, let's jump into our very first game, which is Control. Now, Control is a game I had been paying attention to for a while now when I first saw it at last year's E3 2018. And what I saw last year, I was really impressed with. I don't know if, well, maybe not impressed. It definitely hooked me in, is the thing. I saw the trailers, the gameplay and whatnot, and I was interested. I was definitely interested. The more I saw of it, the more they released, the more concept art and, screenshots and gameplay and whatnot. I was really building up the hype and expectations for myself. But unfortunately, after it came out later this year, it didn't really live up to the hype and expectations I had set for it. To be fair, the first half of the game was pretty good. Pretty solid. Very enjoyable, honestly. Can't really complain too much about the first half of the game. It wasn't anything mind-blowing. Wasn't anything out of this world fucking fantastic amazing, but it wasn't bad. I enjoyed the first half, but the back half of the game was where it kind of fell apart for me. Like, the game proceeded fine. The game got a little bit more challenging, which I'm kind of a little bitch who doesn't really like incredible challenges, so that kind of lessened it a bit for me. And then the story went by fine, but it's just like as the game kept going, I can't really pinpoint one specific reason why, but I just slowly lost my interest in it. It slowly stopped being fun. Like those first few hours of the game, like those first 4 to 6 hours, good. Not great, not amazing, but not terrible. Just really just slightly above average. But that back half, I don't know, just felt very monotonous, felt like it dragged on a lot. Felt like, they introduced all this side stuff, but I just really had no interest in them, or the ones I did pursue, they were just too much for me. I just didn't want to do them. But then you get to a point later in the game where it's like, oh well, you're severely underleveled. To go any further, you're probably going to want to go do those side quests. I don't know. At the end of the day, wasn't an enjoyable experience. Left a bad aftertaste in my mouth. Not really happy I spent the money I did on it, because I expected so much more out of it. So for that reason, Control is being placed in C tier. Next up on this list is Fire Emblem Three Houses. Now, the first Fire Emblem game I ever got into was Awakening. And Awakening was amazing, fantastic, absolutely loved it. Honestly, to this day, one of, if not my favorite game to ever come out in the 3DS. I fucking adore that game. It was so much fun. I've replayed it twice now. It's fantastic. I love it. And then the next Fire Emblem game I played was Fates, which was definitely a step or two down from where Awakening was. And I'll leave it at that. Was not very impressed with Fates. Though, to be fair, not many people were. So, as we slowly got more news about Three Houses, I was cautiously excited. Because, you know, I knew Fire Emblem had the potential to be something great. But I also knew Fire Emblem had the potential to be something below average. We'll leave it at that. But then they said, oh hey, there are several routes in this game, and, you know, they're all part of the base game. They're not 3 separate games. Immediately, that put it above Fates. Immediately. Easily. And then they announced they would not be bringing back child units, because it didn't make sense with the story. Which, honestly, didn't even make sense with the Fate's story, but they did it there. Oh, believe me, they did it there. Which, you know, once again, hearing that, I was happy. I was like, yeah, no, if it doesn't make sense to have them in there, don't have them in there. So as we slowly got more and more news about it, I, you know, slowly built up more and more hype and a few more expectations for this game. And honestly, this game blew any expectations I had far out of the water. This game was so fucking good. Everything I wanted and more. It was such a fantastic game with so many amazing characters. You know, lovable or not, they were great characters. Some of them, they were assholes, douchebags. Totally hated them, but they were still great characters. And the stories in each route were fantastic. Like, honestly, I've been hardcore addicted to this game. I went through 2.5 playthroughs of just nothing but Fire Emblem. And, you know, whatever little recording I did for here and on Twitch, like, that's it. Like, anything outside of that, nothing but Fire Emblem. For 2.5 playthroughs, I went absolutely ham on Fire Emblem, alright? According to my Switch, I've put in over 250 hours into Fire Emblem. I love this game so much. And it took 250 hours for me to say, you know what, maybe I should play something else. That's how fucking great this game was. That's how much of an impact it made on me. Like, goddamn, I was able to put up with it for 250 hours before I got even remotely tired of it. Honestly, I'm not tired of it. I just needed a much needed break, you know. Other things came out, so I gave attention to other things. But yes, this game's absolutely amazing, and it should be no surprise to anyone that Fire Emblem Three Houses, easy S tier, fucking fantastic. Loved it. Can't say enough good about it. Okay, and next up on this list is Judgment. Judgment is a game that kind of came out of nowhere for me. It, you know, I really didn't know anything about it. Until I played Judgment, I really didn't know much about the Yakuza series. I now know that Judgment is a spin-off of that series. So obviously, you know, the people who would have been really hyped up for this were, you know, Yakuza fans. But, just one day I was watching a YouTube video, and the guy I was watching, they just briefly mentioned this game. And I was like, huh, it just kind of stuck with me in my mind. And then, you know, it was finally released later this June. That was 6 months ago. And then after it was released, you know, I saw it getting decent reviews. I was like, oh, well. But, you know, I still hadn't picked it up. But then one day I saw it on sale. And I saw watched the trailer, watched the gameplay footage. I was like, okay, this is something I'd be willing to take the chance on. So I bought it, and honestly, one of the best purchases I have made in a long time, video game wise. Just one of the best risks I have ever taken. Just taking a huge chance on this game. It was like $40. I was like, alright, you know, it's a bit of money, but hopefully it pays off, and dear God did it. I adore this game. Absolutely. With amazing characters, a fantastic story, an awesome lineup of voice actors, fucking so many amazing things about this game. Even the little side bits, all the side cases, friend events, mini games, everything was just so much fun. Like, I'm not even done with this game. I'm still playing it. I'm like 3/4 of the way through this game, and I don't even need to finish it to know that it's a fantastic fucking game. It's so goddamn enjoyable. It is so much fun. Goddamn, I can't say enough good about this game. Now, this is another game I've just been hardcore addicted to. I've been playing it for my streams recently, and every little chance I can, I'm working on little side bits and mini game stuff off camera just so I have the excuse to play more of this game. That's all it really is. I just want an excuse to play even more of this game. It's so fantastic, and I think what I love most about this game is the fact that it came out of nowhere for me. There was no hype built up for this game, for me. There were no high expectations going into this game. It just came out of nowhere. It was like something I bought on a whim. I was like, you know what, I'll take the chance on this, and it paid off so fucking well. So, obviously, it's another S-tier game, but not only is it an S-tier game in my opinion, it's my #1 game. It's my game of the year. I fucking love this game, and honestly, I hope it gets a bit more attention than it's gotten, because honestly, it's ridiculous amounts of fun. It is so fucking good. I love it. Alright, next up on this list is Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. Now, I've been a fan of the Ultimate Alliance series for a while. I didn't get a chance to play the first game for myself until earlier this year, but I had seen others play it, and I knew it was good. I have played Ultimate Alliance 2 like 4 times now for myself. 4 or 5 times, somewhere around there. So when Ultimate Alliance 3 was announced last year at the Game Awards, I was beyond hyped. Maybe even overly so. But yeah, no, when I fucking first heard about it, like, I was like, no way. It's been 10 years. We're getting another Ultimate Alliance game? Like, bruh, my heart was beating so fast I could have died. It was so exciting for me, honestly. I was so fucking hyped up for it. And, as we got, more and more trailers and character announcements and all this, I just got more and more hyped for it. And then the game came. And honestly, it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad, but it definitely didn't live up to its predecessors. Ultimate Alliance 1, after playing it for myself earlier this year, was a great game. Fantastic. I loved it. Ultimate Alliance 2 was even better in my opinion. I know that's kind of a hot take. Most people think Ultimate Alliance 2 wasn't as good as the first one. I greatly enjoyed Ultimate Alliance 2. Loved the story of it. Had a fucking fantastic roster of characters. I loved Ultimate Alliance 2. Ultimate Alliance 3, I don't know, there were just a few things here and there. One of the main things I noticed overall that I didn't like immediately was the art style of the game. I know the game has completely changed hands from where it once was, but I don't know, I love the art style that the previous games had, and the new art style isn't bad, definitely not saying that, but I just feel like the previous games were better, and this was a bit of a downgrade. After replaying Ultimate Alliance 1, I noticed that there were quite a few things that they kind of kept pretty similar between the games. Like, there were a lot of reused locations, reused setups, reused villains and whatnot. And I know, like, some villains are obviously going to get reused because they're big names. You can't have a fucking Marvel game without them. I noticed quite a few similarities between 1 and 3. And it just felt like, 3 kind of bit off of 1. Which I guess kind of makes sense because I'm guessing 3 is meant to be more of a soft reboot of the series rather than like an actual third installment. Seeing on how they never reference the previous games at all. They're not mentioned. The effects of the previous games aren't like seen at all in the new game, which is fine. But yeah, it didn't live up to what expectations I had set of it. At the end of the day, it was an Ultimate Alliance game. Gameplay wise, it felt exactly like an Ultimate Alliance game. The story played out like an Ultimate Alliance game, there's no denying that. But, I don't know, there was just something about it that just was missing from the previous games. Like, it had the potential to be really good, but it missed out on it. So, for that reason, I'm putting it in A tier for, overall enjoyable experience. Just, 1 or 2 nitpicks that kind of threw it off for me. Alright, so next up on this list is the Dark Pictures anthology, Man of Medan. a new game to come out from the studio that made Until Dawn, which was a very popular game that I myself have played, and I really enjoyed Until Dawn. I'm a pretty big fan of like choice-based games, even if a lot of people complain about choice-based games because they feel like, oh, choices don't really matter, blah blah blah. I still enjoy them. Even if my choices don't truly matter in the long run, I still really enjoy choice-based games. I like them. These choice-based, story-heavy games. They're what I like. So I greatly enjoyed Until Dawn. I haven't played any of Supermassive's recent game. I didn't play Rush of Blood or Hidden Agenda, I think was the other one. I didn't get a chance to play those just because Rush of Blood was a VR game. I don't own PSVR. And Hidden Agenda was... There was something... It was like a it was focused on multiplayer, I think was the reason I didn't get it. I honestly don't remember. I remember wanting to get it because I saw that it was from, Supermassive, but then realizing like, oh, I would not have any reason to play this game. So, Man of Medan comes out, and it's supposed to be like the new Until Dawn, and it wasn't. It just honestly wasn't. It was significantly shorter, which I don't mind shorter games, but it just felt like it was over in an instant, It just felt like it was over before it really started. You didn't really have time to really get invested into any of these characters at all, honestly. It just feels like, oh, the story's starting and it's over. And, the big plot twist of the game, I won't spoil it now, but they kind of beat you over the head with it. I mean, there's one point in the game, depending on your choices, which characters are still around by that point in the game. But there's one point in the game where like one of the characters straight up just like says the plot twist out loud. He's like, "Oh, we've been thinking this the whole time, but it's actually been this," and he just spells it out just entirely. It's like But even before that, they just constantly are just like, "Here's the plot twist. Here's the plot twist. Hey, do you get it by now? Here's the plot twist. Here's the plot twist. Oh, hey, in case you haven't realized, here's the plot twist." Which, ugh. So, but I still gave this game a chance just because it was Supermassive and the same people who made Until Dawn. I know they have another game coming out, another story, part of this Dark Pictures anthology. What's it called, like Little Hope or something like that. I'm definitely gonna wait to see what the reception is to that one before I give that one a chance, because Man of Medan, people were definitely warning people to stay away from it. It definitely wasn't the same experience as in Until Dawn. I didn't listen. I learned my lesson. Whatever game they put out next, I'm gonna hang back and see what others have to say about it. So, for that reason, I'm gonna put it in C tier, even after Control. Honestly, Control, like, at the end of the day, like, I didn't didn't even finish Control, but I'd still put it above Man of Medan. Man of Medan is just, that's all I can really say about it. I don't know what more I could possibly say about it than just, Alright, and next up on this list is Mortal Kombat 11, the newest installment into one of the most well-known fighting franchises around. And honestly, I suck at fighting games. I'm gonna be upfront with that right away. Don't know why I keep buying them. I suck at them. I play them for a few months and I eventually drop them. It's the same. It's been that way for almost every fighting game. The only fighting game I haven't treated like that is Injustice 2. And that's just because I'm a DC fanboy. I love DC comics, so, every now and again I just find myself being drawn back into Injustice 2. It's fucking fun. I love it. So, Mortal Kombat being the newest game from that studio since Injustice 2, I wanted to give it another shot. I've never been a huge Mortal Kombat fan. I'm not really into the whole lore of everything and whatnot, but I was like, you know what? We'll give it a chance. We'll give it a shot. It was a time travel story, which we knew about before the game came out, but time travel stories they're already going to be messy. Anytime your story has time travel in it, it's going to be messy. And Mortal Kombat 11 definitely wasn't any exception. But of course, fighting games aren't really played for their story modes, to be fair. The actual fighting aspect of it I guess honestly I'm not one to really properly judge it because I fucking suck shit at fighting games anyway. It was fun enough while it lasted, but like with most fighting games for me, I played it for a bit and then just eventually got bored with it, moved on. So for that reason, I'm not going to put it at C tier just because it wasn't bad. I don't feel it was a bad game. Even if I'm not good at fighting games, I don't feel it was a bad game, but it wasn't anything that left like an amazing impression on me. Definitely wasn't anything out of this world, mind-blowingly awesome. So we're just gonna pop it a B tier, as in it was decent, but I mean, honestly, I can't say if it could have been better or not. I'm really not one to properly judge fighting games, but that's where I'm putting it. Alright, so before we go any further, before we finish off the last 3 left in the list, before we place them where I want them to go, give them their little shout out, I want to give a shout out to the honorable mentions of 2019. The honorable mentions being the games that weren't released in 2019, but games that I played for the first time in 2019 and feel like deserve a little bit of a shout out, to feel that deserve like a little bit of, hey, these games were pretty fucking good, I think you should check them out. All of these games I'm about to mention are all I'd put at S or A tier games. They're pretty fucking good in my opinion. Obviously, this entire thing is opinionated. May not be the games for you, but if you're interested in these games, I highly recommend them. Anyway, those games are Galgun Double Piece, Deltarune, Song of Memories, My Big Sister, Gal Metal, Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons, Akane, Red Strings Club, and If My Heart Had Wings. All of these are fantastic games. You may recognize some of the titles as I've been playing these on stream and here on YouTube. They're great games, honestly, for what they are. A lot of these games aren't meant to be masterpieces, but they're still fun and enjoyable, and that's really how I judge games anyway, is whether or not I do enjoy them, whether or not they are fun, whether or not they hold my interest throughout the entire playthrough. But that aside, let's get back to the 2019 games. The next game on the list being My Friend Pedro. This is a game I've known about for a while now. They announced the release date earlier this year back in E3. I saw it and I was like, okay, it's about to come out, it looks fun. And it was fun, but it wasn't anything great. It's got a combat system that's easy to pick up, but difficult to master. You can learn the basics pretty quickly and you get used to it pretty quickly. However, actually, getting really good at it to where you can set up these big combos and rack up huge amounts of points, that takes a while. I think they meant it to be that way because they wanted to give people they wanted to give the game some kind of replayability. So, if they force the player to take the time to learn how to play the game so they can get S ranks on all these levels, yeah, they'll be playing our game for a while. But that wasn't the case for me. I had one playthrough of the game, getting the lowest possible score on practically every stage, and while the game was fun, the story was goofy but decent. I definitely don't think it's worth any more time that I put into it. The main story was fine, but honestly, is it worth what was it, 20 bucks? I sure hope it wasn't any more than 20 bucks, honestly. What I'm trying to say is, what, if you see this game on sale, I'd say it's worth picking it up, but beyond that, it really isn't anything special. So, while it wasn't a bad game, not anything great, slapping it at B tier, right above Mortal Kombat 11. Alright, and next up on this list is surprisingly one of the most controversial games on this list. Fucking Pokemon Sword. That's the version I played. As many of you may know, as if you've been keeping up with Pokemon, honestly if you haven't, I'm sure you've heard about this as well. It kind of was a big deal. Pokemon's been making a lot of waves, and not really for the best reasons. A lot of people were freaking out after it was announced that, the national dex would not be included in this game, meaning several hundred Pokemon were being cut from the game. My personal take on it is that I saw that coming a long time ago. I knew eventually this game would get to the point where there were just so many Pokemon that eventually there would come a point where you wouldn't be able to put all of them into a game. I've seen that coming for years now. After Gen 7, I was surprised that they managed to actually keep bringing them all back. The fact that when it was announced that, no, they're not all coming back, fucking people rioting online, I'm just here yeah, no, about time. I figured. Not necessarily about time, that would mean I was waiting for it, but honestly, I figured. I figured it was coming eventually, so it wasn't that big of a surprise to me. The bigger surprise to me was all the whiny bitches online. Like, it's one thing to be upset that your favorite didn't make it in, which I can't really relate to because my favorite did make it in. Not trying to brag, just saying, obviously maybe I don't understand that mentality. Maybe it is a bigger deal than I think. And then of course there was the whole hashtag trending Game Free Collide, that they reused models from the 3DS games, which I say, I don't care. Yeah, they probably lied about cutting them out because, they figured you wouldn't find out. And they wanted you to stop fucking harassing them. If they said, oh, we cut them out so that then here's this excuse why, you'd be like, oh, okay. But if they say, no, we reuse models and we still cut them out, then of course they're going to get even more shit. Which, honestly, it's better to be upfront with the truth than to hide it. But honestly, I can't blame them for trying to hide it. I mean, you just gotta look at the internet and see all the pissy people, and beyond even the pissy people, the fucking amount of total assholes who are sending death threats to the devs and creators of the game. Like, that's not cool. Less than cool. That's not okay in any way, shape, or form. But enough about the shit surrounding the game. What about the actual game itself? And to that, I have to say, it was fun. I don't agree with all these big reviewers saying, oh, it's the greatest game ever. It's the greatest installment in the series yet. No, would not say that. Do not agree with that at all. It's not bad, though. It's not bad. I'd honestly say, like, Gen 8 is I'd probably put it at, like, my third or fourth favorite generation. Like, I'm a Gen 3 fanboy. I love Emerald. It was great. I love the Gen 3 GameCube games. They were fucking amazing. Gen 3 was awesome. Gen 8 was decent. Sword has been pretty damn good. I haven't quite finished it yet, so I can't really give a full opinion on the story, but just from how it's been going thus far, I recently finished the 7th gym leader. It's just been fun. It's been fun. The Pokemon camp was an amazing addition to the game. I love that. I've been fucking spending probably too much time there. The characters, for the most part, are great. A lot of people have been complaining about Hop, rightfully so. He's probably the worst character. But beyond that, it's yet another Pokemon game. And with some additions here and there. The Gigantamaxing thing, Dynamax and Gigantamaxing. The moment it was announced, I wasn't too excited about that. I preferred Mega Evolutions personally. Z moves were alright. But Dynamaxing, I don't know. It doesn't seem all that great. It's just, I honestly don't know what to say about it. I guess I'm incredibly indifferent about it, really. I don't hate it, but I definitely don't like it. But, like I said, overall, not a terrible game. It's an enjoyable Pokemon game. If you like Pokemon, you'll enjoy this game. Like, simple as that. So, for that reason, I'm going to slap it in A tier above Ultimate Alliance 3. If it will fucking move. There we go. Alright, and the final game on this list is The World Next Door. The World Next Door is a little indie game that came out of nowhere. I can't remember whether I saw it on sale or if it was just recently added to the eShop when I bought it. And it was cheap at the time. I think it was like, it must have been on sale. I think it was half off and it was only like $5 or something. Something along those lines. I was like, this looks like a neat little game. I'll check it out. And oh my god, it was fantastic. I fucking love this game. The combat in it is incredibly fun. It's a perfect blend of challenging and fun. Yeah, you look at it and you either think one way or the other. You think, that looks a bit too much, or oh, that looks too easy. And it's neither. It's definitely not too easy, but it's not so overly challenging to where you get frustrated with it or you fucking give up on it. No, it's so much fun. It's a lot of fun. The story was great. The characters were awesome. I've seen a lot of people complain about the story. They hate, not necessarily the story, the ending. They don't like how it was left open-ended like that. I kind of like it. It's setting it up for a sequel, I hope. Honestly, I hope. I know this game hasn't received the best reviews, but honestly, for me, I think it's a fucking great game. Especially for the price, bruh. Sure, it was on the shorter side, but that's nothing. That's not a problem. Like I said previously, I don't mind shorter games as long as they're good. And as long as they're not, super expensive. I don't want to be paying $60 for a fucking 8-hour game, you know, which this definitely wasn't that. So at the end of the day, it was just a fucking fantastic game that honestly, if you ever see it and you're just even slightly interested in it, I recommend it. I definitely recommend it. I had so much fun with this game, never wanted it to end. When it did end, I wanted so much more, and I think that's a great sign for a game. So honestly, I'm gonna slap this small little indie title right up here in A tier. I mean A tier, S tier. S tier, yeah. So there you have it. There's my final list. From top to bottom: Judgment, Three Houses, World Next Door, Pokemon, Ultimate Alliance 3, My Friend Pedro, Mortal Kombat 11, Control, and Man of Medan. I know there's plenty of other big titles that came out this year that I didn't mention at all, for the simple fact that I didn't play them. If I didn't play them, there's no point to talk about them. And most of them I'm probably not going to play. I have no interest in Kingdom Hearts 3, Resident Evil 2 Remake, or Sekiro. Feel free to leave your opinions on my list. I'm sure plenty of people will disagree with me on something. There's always something to disagree with. But regardless, that's going to do it for me. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next episode of whatever it is I make. Bye.